I am going to demonstrate for you how to remove a shower head and prepare the shower to install a new and upgraded shower head. This is a typical low-cost shower head that you'd see in any home improvement store. It's been in here for a couple of years and it's time to remove it. So there's three scenarios we can encounter. The easiest scenario would be just simply to be able to grip it, rotate counterclockwise, and unscrew it. I can see that while the head is turning, the fitting is not turning, so the simplest scenario is not going to work. We will be required to use a tool. Typically the tool you would use is something like this, an adjustable wrench, but this particular thing is really cheap. It doesn't even have any grip points for that. So we're going to have to use something with sharper teeth, either a set of slip joint pliers or a locking plier like this one. If you're going to use this type of tool with sharp teeth, make sure that these teeth never touch anything unless you plan to throw it away. Now I can see marks here. Whoever installed this probably used a similar tool and it did leave permanent marks. So since this piece is staying, we want to make sure not to touch this piece with these teeth so that we don't leave any marks on it or scratches. So we're going to simply grip this and turn it. And if you're using a tool, you need to be very, very careful that this piece does not rotate. If that piece were to rotate counterclockwise when we turned it, that would be loosening a connection inside the wall, and we definitely don't want any leaks inside the wall. So be very, very careful when you begin to rotate this and make sure that only the shower is rotating. And in this case, we're lucky we're not in the worst case scenario and we can rotate it off. I do want to show you what to do if this looks like it's going to turn, or if it begins to turn. You need to stop immediately, and you'll need to use two of these tools. But again, these sharp teeth, you don't want them to make a mark on your shower arm. This is a shower arm. So you can use either regular masking tape, or if you have it, I like this sort of rubberized electrical tape. It does give you a better grip. And we're going to wrap that and protect it so that the teeth are gripping into this tape and not into the shower head. So we're going to wrap this several layers around, because this is going to provide a grip surface for our teeth, and you don't want just one or two layers, or the tool will bite right through those teeth, through that tape, and destroy or mark that arm underneath. So now we can grip this securely with one tool and use the other tool to rotate like so, and that will keep your structure inside the wall from leaking. Now you only need to do this if this arm begins to turn. Otherwise, you don't need to do this step. I'm just doing it here for illustration because we were able to get this loose. Eventually it should come loose where you can use just your fingers, and you can continue to rotate counterclockwise until it comes off. Once it comes off, you can set it aside, discard it. One thing I recommend always doing is you'll want to remove this tape and inspect this pipe and clean up these threads. Usually I use just one of these kitchen cleaners just to make sure there's no corrosion or gunk or leftover plumber's tape or anything in those threads. Get that very clean. But another thing that people forget to do is to check inside this pipe. So you just use this or a pencil or anything, this pair of simple tweezers, but I reach up in there and look what I found. The gasket that should have been between the two pieces was jammed up inside there. And if you were to install your new shower head with that gasket inside, it would block the flow and reduce the performance of your replacement shower head. So we want to make sure that there's nothing inside this pipe and that these are very clean. And we can leave that tape on there to tighten the new one, but typically you will not need it. And so you can just go ahead and remove it now and make sure that there's no damage to that pipe underneath. And there you see, good as new. And so this illustrates the three scenarios you might find, and your arm is now prepared and ready for installation of your replacement upgraded shower head. Now that your fixture has been removed and your shower arm is clean and ready to go, it's time to install Teflon tape. Pretty much anywhere you look on the internet, or anyone that knows home improvement will tell you the same thing, and they will all tell you to wrap the Teflon tape clockwise. If the purpose of Teflon tape is simply to provide a little lubrication and prevent corrosion in this joint, clockwise is fine, and it will work. I'm going to suggest that it might be better to wrap the Teflon tape counterclockwise, because there's a third and more important purpose for the Teflon tape, and that is that it will be sacrificed and cut into as we apply it. It's not removable and reusable, and part of that sacrifice will be when we wrap it counterclockwise and we install the fixture clockwise. Part of that sacrifice will be to make little bunches, and it will bunch up inside the threads, and those little bunches will fill in every gap and every space and help to prevent leaks. So if you don't believe this, feel free to wrap clockwise. However, if you don't want any leaks, I highly recommend that you wrap counterclockwise, and I'll demonstrate right now how that can be done. You start the Teflon tape pretty flat, you press it down into the threads and overlap it, and then you want to put several layers. And the older your plumbing is, the more wraps you're going to want, 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10 or 12. You almost can't have too much. Then simply pull it tight like that, snap it off, and then again, using that counterclockwise motion, you want to press this down into the threads so that it won't unravel, but in fact will shred up and make little micro bunches, filling all the voids when you install your product. So now that the Teflon tape has been applied, you're ready to install your new and upgraded shower product.